Right. So you will need to draw lots. Okay. So group leaders, you decide. Okay, let me type in here. We have red, we have green, we have yellow, we have white, we have blue, and we have black. Right, group leaders choose a color and then type in the text box. Type the color of your choice in the text box or a representative from the group. Yeah. Okay, Chun Hao has selected yellow. Red. Okay. Yellow, blue, red. Okay. Cherokee. Black. Okay. Right. Wenqian white. Okay. And one last color remaining will be green. Okay, which group? Will a representative from the last group just type in green so that I can record a name? Yeah, do we have 6 groups or 5 groups? We have 6 groups, right?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah. Okay. The last group, can someone just type in green so that I can pick up a name? Okay. Jia Hong, are you in? You've already typed in red. Or red has already been taken. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so Jia Hong is green.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Okay, now the review. Chun Hao, your team, you chose yellow is group number 1.
Okay.
Okay. Pei Yan chose blue. That's number 4, which will present in week 4. Ken Seng chose red. That is number 3. Then Shaoqi chose black, which is number 6. Okay, it's a bit opposite. Okay. Wen Qian chose white. That is number 5. And Jia Hong chose green is number 2. Okay. So groups 1, 2, and 3 will present in week 3. Groups 4, 5, and 6 in week 4. Okay. Now I've received requests or questions when to submit the PowerPoint slides. I know on records it should be this Friday, but in the end it's a lot of hassle for me because sometimes students ask to change, they need to make changes and all that. Is everyone agreeable to once you finish your presentation, on the day of presentation, you submit your PowerPoint slides? Everyone okay? If you disagree, please speak up. Okay, silence means okay,
Oh, so Miss is like,
Yes.
oh, when we finish the presentation, just submit only lah.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Okay, because during your presentation, you'll be flashing your slides already, right? So that's okay. Yeah. Okay, now that's that. And then there's another question on whether is it live presentation or a recorded one? Personally, I prefer a live presentation, but there are some who are considering recorded ones. Fine, but technically, in terms of IT computers, I'm not too good. So I was told that they wanted to use PowerPoint as an option to record the presentation over PowerPoint. Now, if you want to do that, that's fine, but make sure you include yourself in the presentation. Okay, so when you and then there were questions if I record myself, whether it's recorded or live, you can choose to stand, you can choose to sit, that is fine. But I need to get you to, well, at least do something like this. Yeah. Make sure your frame, you are in the frame and you're very prominent in the frame and you are looking into the camera. And we will be looking at hand gestures as well. So make sure that when you're lifting up your hands and all that, it is seen and not just little movements here at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so position yourself well because all these hand gestures, positioning, your poise, how you sit, whether straight or slump and all of that can have an effect on your marks. Okay, so if you're doing recording, that means on the day of presentation, you will play the recording as well to have it recorded. And I want everyone to also watch that recording or have it on records. So in case any disputes that time, you say, hey, submit the recording. Wow, we didn't see how their performance is. And then the marks were given. Okay, so just to make it fair, live or recording, all will have to be presented on the day of your presentation. Okay, any other questions? Some of you may have submitted the draft for me to check. I may, but those of you who have already submitted and I've not responded, it's because yesterday I've got 8 hours of class. I did 4 classes of critical thinking. Today I've got 3 classes, which means I only finish at 4 p.m. today. So most probably I'll be looking at your work later tonight. So tonight and tomorrow, expect the reply by Thursday. Okay, right. So if there is no question, let's today I'm going to move into talking about your assignment still, and then going into the concept of argument and premises, conclusion and premises. Okay, right. Let's go. Slides. Okay. Right. So we already know you have to watch the movie, decide on the theme. Okay. Now the theme or the issue. Some groups caught on. As I read through this round, I thought the issue was just one issue, and everyone in the team will have to talk about that one issue. Okay, so some of you have already done that. And yesterday there was a question that they say, can each student in each team do their own issue? Okay, then I went to check and apparently, yes, you can. Okay, so those of you I've received, like Chayim's group has looked at one issue and then moving into looking at all under disability, and then they have their own points of view on disability. Right. If you have not worked on it and you feel, or anytime you feel stuck and you want to change to a different issue, you can do that as well. Okay. So it's not necessary that everyone just stick on one issue and 5 of you doing your point of view on issue. If you want to choose another issue for yourself, you can do that. Apparently, yes, you can. Okay, right. What is issue or theme? Some of you have gotten it right already, so well done. Issue or theme is the message that you feel pops out from the movie. So it can be like if you feel the message was, let's say if I do Cinderella, then it could be magic, it could be what else? It could be um, hope, it could be, sibling rivalry, like the sisters fighting amongst themselves, or it could be blood is thicker than water. It can be that, all right? Then choose one. Right. Movie analysis worksheet. This round I'm not giving. It's okay. It's not necessary. You just need to type in your points and show me. All right. Then prepare your own PowerPoint, and group leader to combine everyone's PowerPoint, or someone in the group has to combine your PowerPoint slides and present on the day of presentation, or if you choose recording. Right. So let me show you an example of the content. Okay, so let's say my example is Cinderella, and student one has chosen the issue of hope. So then student says, okay, hope gives one the strength to carry on when times are difficult. Now, when you already have your point of view or conclusion, it will be good if you highlight the keywords, okay? Just underline your keywords just for yourself, because this will direct you to find the answers which are the proof which are relevant, okay, because these are qualifying factors. Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to talk about hope. The proof that I need to find is strength. It must talk about strength, and strength in times of difficulty. All right. So from the example, my support one, I can talk about an example from the movie. Now, first, support has to come from the movie because it is of relevance to answering the question. Because the assignment question is asking you to watch the movie, and from there, pick your issue. Now, if you don't cite anything from the movie, then how would I know that it is from the movie? Or it's not even relevant to the assignment, isn't it? I can just give you, okay, right. My issue to you is hope. Now give me your argument on hope. That's it. You don't have to watch the movie. So there is a reason why your first support has to come from the movie in order to tie in with the assignment as well. So for Cinderella, they can cite an example from the movie, meaning that things were so difficult for Cinderella. She didn't have money, and her only ball gown to go to the ball was destroyed by the stepsisters. And the stepmother told her that she had to complete all the housework before she could go to the ball. Thus, she faced a lot of difficulty. She definitely, it seems impossible. She couldn't finish. However, she was hopeful, and she had the strength to still keep doing the work, still keep wanting to. She did not give up. She had this hope that still things can happen to bring her to the ball. She did not give up her hope on going to the ball, and in the end, the fairy godmother came, and then things started changing, and the rest you know. Okay, right. So along these lines, I need to explain things like that. Then for support two, I have a choice of choosing real life examples, which is subjective truth, or it can be a personal life story from myself or someone I know. And then for support three, I can go more scientific, like scientific research evidence or historical evidence, which is all objective truth. So for the second one, perhaps if you know Viktor Frankl, that is one famous Jew who actually survived the Nazi camp, and he actually went to US and spoke about his experience. So for Viktor Frankl, he actually, before the Nazis invaded, his hometown and wanting to uh, imprison all the Jews, he had the chance to go to America, but he didn't take that up. It's because he wanted to remain in his hometown to be with his family. And in the end, they were all caught by the Nazis. And because he was a doctor, he served some purpose in the prison. So he was, in a way, able to suffer less torture, but still, nevertheless, he's still in the prison. He has his own fair of torments. But one thing he did was he kept keeping this hope and keep visioning himself going to America, talking to, lecturing to a hall of students and sharing about this experience. So it is this hope and dream that he had, which it eventually brought him over to America. Right. So that's one example. And the third example I may want to choose is I can go to psychology because it's got to do with hope. So is there some research on psychology regarding hope in human beings? What about human beings who do not have hope? What will happen to them? Those who are hopeful, how are they like? So I may want to find things like that to support how, and go back to explaining, tie back to explaining from this psychological point that I found, tie it back to explaining how hope gives a person strength when times are difficult. So remember to always go back to your main point. Yeah, as you explain, remember to always refer back to your main point. All right. And finally, once finished, I tie all my points together in a one closing sentence, just to remind my audience again of what I'm talking about, because I've gone through so many explanations, they may forget about my main point, so I may want to restate it again here. Okay, so this is the content of what you should present in your presentation. Okay, any questions so far? Right, if none, next I want to show you your marking guidelines. Yeah, what I'm looking out for. Well, this document cannot be shared with you, so I'm just showing it to you. What are your marks based on? There are 5 components there, and out of which one component is a shared mark among the group members. The rest are all mostly independent individual marks. Okay, so the first one is on your content. So the content is whether your issue is arguable. Can I find the issue from the movie, or did you simply create an issue which is not from the movie? Okay, and then next is argument. The argument is explained clearly. Premises, which are all your support, are logical and relevant, and you've provided sufficient and good elaboration of points. Remember the 8 critical thinking standards. One of it is completeness. Whether you've explained enough, did you provide complete information or not? Next, well-rounded argument. You've looked at all aspects, which is 8 critical thinking standards, which is the specific details. And then finally, I'm looking at your organization. Clarity, easy to follow. Clear introduction, body, and conclusion. All the parts of your presentation is very clear and easy for me to follow. So that will be the mark of your content. And my strategy is this. Yeah, for each category, it's 5 marks. And I will start with 3. 3 is assuming it is average. All right. And then something that you did right, I will find that, or things that you did wrong for this criteria. It will either add your marks to a 4, or it will detract your marks to a 3. And then if I find more things more serious happening, then it may go down to a 2. Or you are at a 4, and then you're telling me something that's totally spectacular, then you will get your 5 out of 5. Okay. Now, next part is language, the use of spoken language, persuasive cues, how you present your presentation in a way that make me accept your argument. Pronunciation and articulation is clear, easy to follow. You're fluent, there's no ums and ahs, a lot of them. Accurate grammar and sentence structure, good choice of words and vocabulary, and appropriateness of language, suitable for the audience's level, academic level, or social background or technical background. So just now I mentioned that I could go and use some points to support from psychology. So let's say if I find something on the journal and I copy and paste that sentence into my script, it is easily detectable because suddenly you sound very technical in your speech. So that is going to draw my attention to deduct marks. Okay, so you have to make sure that you paraphrase it, say those words in your own, say the same points in your own words, so that it all is consistent with your own language. All right. So a piece of my point is a piece of copy and paste work will, if from all different documents, I will hear a few different people in you as you presenting. It can be very telltale. Okay. Right. Now the next component, the third component is delivery. Delivery is the handling of your visual aids, your PowerPoint slides, able to hold and grab audience's attention. Delivery is your style of presentation, your vocal usage, voice quality. Did you make it sound interesting? Did you sound interested? Were you enthusiastic? And there was also the non-verbal communication of your eye contact. Therefore, that's why you need to make sure you're looking into the camera, your facial expression, your poise and gesture, your posture, how you sit, and your hand gestures. All right. Now, all of this, that's the reason why I ask for you to be focused in your camera frame. Because if you're not in your frame, this is going to affect your delivery marks. All right. So on the day of the presentation, I will not ask you to reposition yourself. I'll leave it to you to see how you position yourself. All right. But if you stand too far away and it gets really bad, then probably you get marks deducted. Now, next, your visual aids. Of course, the main visual aid that you have is your PowerPoint slides. Now, besides PowerPoint slides, sometimes some of you, maybe you have a special prop or a pen which is relevant, or something that is relevant to prove your point. Then you can hold it up and show, okay? Now, PowerPoint slides are for your audience, it's not for you. Therefore, if I ever see paragraphs and paragraphs of your speech on your PowerPoint slides, I will deduct marks. Easy, no need to think. Because in terms of presentation, if you put paragraphs and paragraphs of sentences on your PowerPoint slides, then you might as well send the slides to me to read. You don't have to present anymore, number one. Number two, your audience, some will prefer to read, they look at your slides and they stop paying attention to you, which defeats the purpose of you standing there and speaking. Number three, PowerPoint slides are meant for the audience, not for you. It's not for you to post your text there. So what you do for your PowerPoint slides, you need to do, they are meant as guidelines. They are guideposts for your audience to follow what you are saying. So it comes in the form of key phrases, flow charts, pictures, just very few sentences or quotes, then you can have the sentences there, okay? So visual aids, we're looking at your relevance to the topic, the pictures, the keywords, the flow chart that you put there, relevance to the topic, sufficient, complete enough to cover the content. It is clear, it was creative, because some students can be very creative even though they use animation. They're able to use the animation to send a message or to convey a message, all right? Visibility, legibility, easy to read, easy to see, the pacing, everything very nice on the eyes. Accuracy of facts and language on your PowerPoint slide. Gosh, excuse me. And the effective use of visual aids, yeah, how you use it effectively. Now, some students I've seen has given one, they found one very powerful picture which is relevant to the point that they are trying to make. Well, that one actually blew me away and got extra points as well. Okay, right. So that's for your visual aids. Then the final category is overall success. Now, overall success here, lecturers actually have a choice to either give individual marks or as a group mark. But for me, I want to make this a group mark. So everyone will share this mark, because remember, critical thinking does say that you need it enables you to work well with each other. So a little practice there. So that's the reason why I prefer to put that as a shared mark here. So you can look at your appropriate attire. Maybe you want to make a little more effort in dressing according to the theme of the movie. Doing something different that stands out may add on some marks. Yeah. Audience control. Your audience clearly know they are told and briefed on what to do, what to behave, what to expect. Your use of time. You can run overtime for just additional, I'll give you additional 2 minutes, because you need to do the overall opening and overall closing. But more than that, if you seriously run overtime, then that will affect your marks here. Team coordination, transition from one speaker to the next, it's very smooth, and you do signal each other. I see teamwork there. I don't see like some of you quarreling and some getting so angry with the team member for not delivering on that day. Things like that are also being observed. Okay. Effectiveness in bringing your points across to the audience and also making it very impactful for the audience. Okay. This is what you will be marked on. All right. And all the 5 components will be 25 marks. So total score over 25 times 100 to give you your 50% of your coursework. Okay, right. Then we move back to the slides. Okay. Now, this one I've covered. Now, here, this is a brief flow chart of how your presentation can be like. Now, the first box on the top is what is required. And if you include even the second box at the bottom, which is a group conclusion to close up for everyone, then that gives me a chance to show overall success. Gives you a chance to show the cooperation and the coordination for a full presentation. Yeah, that's a part for the point of overall success. So you can take the first person opening, can give a group intro, which is an introduction to the movie, an introduction to the issue or theme. That can be 30 seconds to 1 minute. Okay, extra here that I'm giving everyone. So some I've seen, they just take the synopsis of the movie, they go and take from the internet and just read the whole synopsis. Well, that is not necessary. Probably just in 1 to 6 sentences, you can cover that. A simple touch and go on the movie, but within the context of the issues that everyone is talking about. So some groups may be doing one issue, so then you may want to talk briefly about the movie and then leading it into the issue. Why this issue is the biggest issue that touched everyone, and you guys have decided to focus on this issue to present your point of views. Or if you have a group which has 4 members and they're all 4 different issues, you may want to see if there is any similarity in the issue. All right. So you can say, well, this movie, well, it concerns us young people, the youths. Therefore, you can see that these are issues that young adults face. The issues highlighted in our group on this movie are all issues or things which are close to the heart of young adults. So listen out and you may understand what young adults or the challenges that young adults face. All right. So then you give your audience a chance to look out for. And also it is kind of like a little commentary. All right. Then you move into the same student one, then now you move into present your own part. Then transition to invite the second speaker invite the third speaker invite the fourth speaker. The final speaker will either decide to do the group conclusion or hand the session back to the first speaker again to do the group conclusion. So now you're making the conclusion, the closing for all the 4 arguments. So tie that back into, okay, so young adults, issues that concern young adults, and then maybe there is certain conclusion that you can draw from that, what young adults face. So do a little closing on that, okay? So if you can execute this off well, then of course you will get some really good marks for your overall success. If you can do that, that's one way to get good marks for your overall success, okay? And then there are other things, of course, like the attire and all that. Okay, right. Now, this assignment, okay. Now, how to approach this assignment? I want to touch a little bit on when we are doing assignments, even in university or even at the workplace in future. What you are doing is actually, I want you to change your thinking to a creative process. You're actually creating something, okay? So you are not, remember last week I was talking about sometimes in our mind we need to think, we tend to think that there is this one perfect model answer, which we have never, nobody has seen. So then we have set in our mind that there's this one perfect answer that keeps running away from us and we keep have to chase it. Now the good news is actually that we don't have to do the chasing, because everything that's assigned to us can be worked on from scratch. That means from nothing we can produce and create these things. So even this assignment, it's okay if you don't have a sample from your seniors. If you can get samples from your seniors, that is fine, but I hope you do not copy everything, all right? Then it defeats the whole purpose. You do not grow from this. But if you get samples, what do? As a critical thinker, you just want to see, okay, this is an A assignment. Okay, high marks. Right, I want to study how this senior actually did the presentation, how they argue, provide the proof, and how they actually score good marks from it. So I want to just take all the good points of how he does this, and I will then try to do the same for my own. So that one is fine, okay? Analyze, that's fine. Besides, if you do the same assignment, produce the same assignment, for many reasons, it may be A for your senior, but let's say, so lucky, same thing. If you present that, I'm just discussing this here, yeah? If you want to do it, I'll leave it to you, but let me give you the reasons. Now, number one, for you, it may be a different lecturer now who is assessing this work, okay? In your case now, definitely it's a different lecturer, because these movies weren't there the time I did last year with the previous group, okay? Now, number two, you're presenting to different lecturers, so it is a different standard, which the lecturer, a different perspective. So each one of us may see things differently. So therefore, the assignment of marks could be different. And number two, because the work belonged to your senior, the senior may connect more to their work because it is their own personal work. So the connection is there when they present. It is done in a much better, convincing manner, for example. For you, if you cannot connect, then it's very difficult. So might be better you create your own piece of work. So when you're doing your own piece of work, even it's good practice, because when you go out to work, let's say you are assigned a client and you need to do auditing for this client, and then also propose some recommendations so that they can improve on certain things. Now, all of that comes from scratch. You cannot predict the situation. You cannot predict which client. So you just need to go there with you and your critical thinking mind. So this is all you have, and these are your tools. So you're going to use that. And what is nice is when you get into the habit of trusting yourself and producing your own work, you will see that everything you want to do it your way because this is your expertise and this is you. It is really a creative process and you are creating a piece of work. All right. So don't be afraid. Explore with your own personality and get the work done in the way that you see fit. But there is guidelines to help us. So what are these guidelines? Here, number one, always when you're assigned a task to create something or produce something, remember to think about your main audience's objectives. So what are your main audiences? Who are your main audience? If for work, let's say that would be your client, that's your main audience. What are their objectives? What do they want to achieve? Or it could be your manager as your main audience. Now, in this assignment, who is your main audience? Me, because I'm going to assign you the marks. So what do you want from me? You want good marks. So what do I need from you? Give me what I need and want from you. What I need from you and want from you, you can find out, right? Coursework plan. I've explained to you the marking criteria already. So these are the things that I am looking from you. So if you can give me what I need, then it does not give me any reason to not give you the marks that you want. Okay. Now, secondly, contrasting viewpoints. You can also start to study and analyze me and say, is there anything that you say which will make me reject? Okay. If you say something that's opposite to what I commonly believe in, it's possible that I may reject your argument. So you may want to really go and study. And if you want to say something that is opposing to what I normally believe in, that is fine. You can do that. All right. But make sure you cover and have your premises done, explain, prove, reasoning, everything done well. If you can do that and you manage to pass through and get it done well, of course, you will get good marks. But if you don't execute it well, then maybe your marks may suffer a little bit. All right. So contrasting viewpoints, predict your audience, what your audience generally think that is opposite to your argument. Explain your point of why their point of view is faulty, wrong, and provide proof for support. Explain why your point of view is more valid than theirs. All right. Here, for your movie presentation, if you want to take up the challenge, you can present something that is opposite from what is in the movie. That's fine. Okay. So, for example, let's say for Cinderella, your issue is, excuse me, just got too tired from the light and all that. Okay, so your issue can be magic, okay? And your argument can be that there is no magic in life. There is hard work is all there is, okay? So then your first point is to kill off the point. State why people thinking that there is magic in Cinderella with the fairy godmother. Then you can say why the fairy godmother actually doesn't exist. How? Because Cinderella worked hard for it, because you've got a hard work component there. So Cinderella had to work hard in order to get to the ball. She did it on her own. Well, magic is just secondary. It just gives her hope, for example. Okay? And then you prove your point. All right? So, of course, Cinderella, I didn't do a good job here. But if you can find one that you can convince very well, then go ahead. Okay. Next. After you've gotten everything, so what do? All you need to do is you need these 8 intellectual standards for critical thinking to check your work. even for work at the workplace. I find that this is very good. Okay, make sure your work is clear, your presentation is clear, your points, your explanation is clear. Precision, you must really study and find out about every specific detail. You must know in detail, even though what you present is not 100% of what you have read, but you need to have this knowledge because people may ask you questions. So when you ask questions, you are able to answer. You understand the situation well. Next, accuracy, accurate information, and it has to be relevant. Relevant. Number 4 is very important. Must always be relevant and answering back to the question. Must be consistent, must be logical. All information provided has to be complete. Otherwise, if it's incomplete explanation, I will also ask you questions, and that will affect your marks in terms of content because it's not complete, it's not well rounded. And being fair, that you do not bring up certain other groups and being prejudiced towards them, and you're being unfair to certain groups. If you do that or speak something that is racist and unfair, that's wrong, then it will raise my red flag and I will start to question. Okay? Right. So that's what you do when you create something from scratch. When there's nothing, you can always do this. All right? Any questions on your assignments? Okay. If there's no question, I'd like to take a break. My apologies if my eyes were closing during the lecture because from the ring light, yeah, I think it's starting to affect after long hours of exposure. So sometimes my eyes may close, but I'm still there. I'm still talking. All right. Okay. So be back at 10:30, and we'll continue with the next part. Ian, can you rephrase your question? Need to write one issue, 4 arguments, or 4 issue plus arguments. The choice is yours. Okay, so if you're all comfortable with one talking about the same issue, and because of the miscommunication on my part, then you can choose it that way as well. Yeah. Payan, are you there? Payan? No, no problem at all. Okay. Yeah. That Chayan's group as well. Yeah, Chayan did that as well. For example, like Chayan's group, they were talking about disability. So every one of them is giving a point of view on disability. All right. Any other questions? Those of you, if you find that there's been difficulty, you guys want to change to 4 different themes, that's also fine. Okay. 4 different issues is also fine. Okay. Right. Can still ask questions. Okay, let's continue. So today we're going into writing arguments, premises, and conclusions. Yep. So it's more of just understanding the concept, which is totally what we've been discussing these 2 weeks already. Okay. So the basis of critical thinking is the presentation of arguments. And what are arguments? Arguments are oh, I can't stand the lights. Okay. Don't mind me being darker. Yeah. All right. So arguments are actually statements which we present that has a point that needs you to defend. You know, defend. You have to always go and support. You have to always go and give a reason to support your point of view. Otherwise, people may not accept what you say. All right. So last week we said in critical thinking that being a critical thinker, whatever arguments or points that people present to us, we will have to first listen to them. So after listening, we need to analyze, research, think through, and then decide. Only then decide whether to accept or reject. Okay. So accepting or rejecting should not happen immediately. All right. If you immediately what someone says and you feel I don't like without examining it, researching through it, analyzing it, then you are being narrow-minded. Okay. Right. So this is what it's about. It's always a case of someone giving us their point of view, their argument, and then we decide. And sometimes we ourselves have to present arguments to others and they decide. So critical thinking is providing reasons to prove your point of view is considered as an argument. All right. Expressing personal preference or disagreement is not an argument. So if I tell you things like, I don't like coffee, so there's nothing to defend, right? If I tell you I don't like coffee, I don't like, no, fine. What is there, right? But so that means it's not an argument. I'm just stating my personal preference. However, okay, if the situation changes to a context where, let's say you are a Nespresso coffee product salesperson at a shopping mall, and you saw me walking out from Starbucks. You saw me drinking coffee at Starbucks. And then when I walk out, you would think that in your mind, this one drinks coffee, so has a chance for me to try to present an argument to them to say that, you know, you can get your own coffee at home, which is so much cheaper than Starbucks. Okay, so therefore, as I walk past your Nespresso stall, then if you ask me, then I say, it's okay, I don't like coffee. Ah. Now, when I say don't like coffee, now it concerns you, isn't it? So you ask me, may I know why you don't like coffee? Now, when you're asking why I don't like coffee, you are asking me, actually, I don't want to present an argument. But now, when you ask me why, you're asking me to provide my proof and reasons why I don't like coffee. All right. So, in that sense, you are forcing me to present an argument. I don't like coffee because it's too acidic and things like that. So now I have to present a point to you. So when I present my point or argument to you, then by listening to my premises, you can now try to debunk and tell me why I'm wrong in my thinking, in my reasoning. All right? Because you want to sell me a machine. So the purpose of an argument is to persuade others to accept a point of view or think differently from what they originally believe. So in critical thinking, we talk a lot about arguments. Even in your coursework one, the movie analysis, you are presenting an argument. An argument consists of premises, which is justifications or your proof, and also the conclusion. Now, your conclusion is actually your main point, your point of view. But in critical thinking terms, they call it the conclusion. But when you are writing essay of a paragraph, we call that what? The topic sentence. You announce your main idea first. Now that is actually your conclusion in critical thinking terms. All right? Only that in essay writing, then you provide your supporting sentences after the topic sentence, which is your premises in critical thinking. And finally, the last sentence is your closing sentence, which we call a concluding sentence that ties back to or reminds your readers again about your main point, which is your topic sentence. Okay? Right. So premises are reasons or evidence given to support an arguer's point of view. So can you see the pattern now in your coursework one, which you need to present? You are actually presenting an argument. An argument consists of the whole set, stating your point of view, which is your conclusion, and then your premises. A conclusion is the arguer's position or point of view. Okay, so premise indicators in your presentation, when you are talking about your proof and all that, you can add words like this to signal for your audience to know that now, hey, I am presenting the reason or my proof. So at the part of reason and proof, you can use words like as, because, since, for, judging from, on account of, seeing that, given that, as much as, considering that. There are much more examples in your textbook. Okay, you can go to that. And you can include and use some of these words in your presentation. Because when you do that, then you are making it sound more like an answer for critical thinking. Okay. In the same manner, you have conclusion indicators. When you are bringing up your main point or your conclusion, then use words like so, thus, hence, therefore, accordingly, consequently, as a result, to signal it easier for me to know that, oh, okay, now you're referring back to your conclusion. Okay, right. Now, there are 5 types of discourses or written or spoken statements which are not considered as an argument. They are reports, unsupported assertions, conditional statements, illustrations, and explanations. Most of these can actually be used as proof or in your premises. Right, the first one is report. Now, report is not something that you can argue or need to defend, isn't it? You just go do your market research and find your numbers, and then you just report. From the start of MCO in March 2019, right up till March 2021, there has been a drop of 25% in retail sales. That means shop sales. All right. So when you give me this information, that comes from your report. There's nothing for you to defend, right? You don't need to prove anything. You've done the research. So this is the number I found. That's it. So reports do not take a stand. They do not make a claim. They do not take a point of view. So what this means is report are actually better as premises for proof, right? So you can make a stand to say that online shopping or online retail, online sales, online marketing, online sales, no. Online sales are increasing due to since the MCO started. So now you have to prove. So you need to defend. So then you say, okay, retail face-to-face sales have gone down by 25%, while online sales have increased by 40%, for example. So reports are good for premises for support. Next, non-arguments. These are unsupported assertions. Unsupported assertions are like your opinions, all right? It's not supported. You can just say things like, I think everyone should take a critical thinking course. That's it. You did not defend it. Now that when you say this, it becomes an unsupported assertion. But when you provide your proof and premises to support it, it becomes an argument. Next, conditional statements are just merely stating a condition. If A happens, then B will follow. So things like if the teacher is ill, then the class will be cancelled. You're just explaining or describing a condition, all right? So it is not a point to be defended, so it's not an argument. Next, illustrations are examples. You can give examples, but examples themselves are not a claim, not a point of view, so no need to defend. Next, explanation. You explain how something is happening, why something happened. So you provide the explanation. So when you're explaining, you're not defending a point. Therefore, explanations are non-arguments. However, explanation, your illustration, the examples, conditional statements sometimes, unsupported assertions no, and reports. These are the ones that will make up very good premises, very good examples to support your points. Okay, right. So now we want to do a little activity on how you write an argument. Okay, so I am going to put the question in the chat box, and then I'll give you time to write your answer and post on the chat box. And from there, I will give my comments, all right, on how you have presented your argument. Okay, so I'm giving you 3 things. You need to choose one. Which of the following is the most important factor to one's career success? Is it knowledge? Is it application? By application, I mean application of knowledge. Or is it people skills? Okay. So I'm giving you, all right, I think within 20 minutes. Yeah. Within 20 minutes, I should be able to get some answers, and the rest of you can keep posting your answer as well. So I'll start commenting at 12:05. By 12:05, make sure that you guys have some answers for me to comment on. Okay, right. So we're going to use this as a point for you to write your arguments, and I will comment on how you have presented your argument. Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you guys for your participation. Right. So we're going to look at how you guys present your arguments. Yep. And we're looking at the train of thought and how I, as the reader, am receiving your presentation of argument. All right, all the statements that you've written, and what kind of thinking I'm going through, and what are some of the things or gaps that you need to fill out. So, like we've said, first and foremost, it is an argument. That means you have to defend your point with a lot of proof and support. So, firstly, I think you all stated your conclusion, which is your point of view, which is good. So, Chun Ho said, as learning is a lifelong habit, knowledge is the most important factor to one's career success. Okay, so that is his stand already. So, this is his conclusion. Knowledge is the most important one. It's hard for us to apply the knowledge or make any wise decisions unless we understand how and why things are done the way they are. All right. So for Chun Hao, he actually gives us a very short premise to support. And because it is short and straight to the point, hard for us to apply, kills off application, very hard to apply or make wise decision unless you understand how and why things are done they are in knowledge. Well, I think because it is short and it is still just two sentences is relevant, then I would accept this as a good argument because I cannot find the gaps. Okay. So yeah, so you are killing off the point of application. Without knowledge, you cannot apply. So you need to study first. You need to have the knowledge first. Maybe if I want to find fault, then if you kill off application, then what about people skills? You may want to address that to make it more balanced because I present you with 3, not just 2. Okay, but in terms of because it is short, so your premise does not run away. It's easy for your audience to understand what you are saying. So I would say this is an acceptable answer. So good job. Right now, when our premises grows longer, that's where a gap comes out. Okay, right. That's what I want to highlight here. Right. Let's look at Yong Lok's answer. For my opinion, human skills. I give you people skills, so best to stick back to people skills because this is also, guys, please also learn how to apply this to answering the questions in your exams for any other courses that you're taking in a university. And also use this to apply when you are working, when your bosses, managers, whoever you're talking to regarding work comes in. What you say based on the questions they ask you has to make sense, and also you have to make them feel that actually they must be satisfied that your answer is complete. So again, it is also referring back to the 8 intellectual standards. Yeah. Okay. Right. So let's see. For my opinion, human skills are the most important factor for a person to succeed. First and foremost, what was given was people skills. So stick to the term given. Application of knowledge can be seen as basic to success, but for human skills, it is the last step to make a person higher. Okay. Person with people skills is able to fully utilize the environment and help from his colleagues. With the help, he's able to have more effective performance compared to a person who does the work all by themselves. Furthermore, a person with good human skills is able to gain respect easier compared to others. Okay, now, this is what I mean, yeah. Sometimes when we are presenting our argument, what happens is as we go deeper and deeper into our explanation, we run away, we are drifting further away from the intended question. And the question I ask you is which is the most important factor to career success? So therefore, the key word career success must be caught on and must be addressed again. So initially, yes, it appears as if you're answering the question, though you're not wrong. But as you go towards the end, it seems to have drifted further into just the benefits of people skills or what people skills can do for you at the workplace. But I'm talking about career success. So what do you mean by career success? Career success, it talks about what? Talks about promotion. So that means, or being employed all the time, meaning people all want you wherever you go in any organizations. Therefore, you need to have a concluding sentence to tie back, to bring back career success into the picture to ensure that you have answered the question. And that's the reason why in organization of paragraphs in your English class, they tell you first, give your topic sentence, which is what you did. And then here you give all your supporting details. And then actually the final part is what? A concluding sentence. That means it would be good if you could say that, well, with one having these skills to work. So for in Yongluk's case, you can say, continue this as a concluding sentence. When a person is able to work with anyone at any level, they will no doubt be one of the leaders that organizations are looking for to lead the team as well as the organization, which then will contribute to the longevity of the person's career as well as the success of his or her career. So you need to refer back to career in order to close back the question, because as you explained, you've moved too far, so you need to come back to answering the question before you end. All right. And also in terms of question, you also need to analyze, because I think there is also the definition of career success. What you mean by that? Because in the previous class answer, there was someone who actually did not mention career success, but towards the end, everything was geared towards employment and promotion. So the keywords employment and promotion is still very close in connection to career success. And because of that, I can accept. But teamwork, yeah, teamwork is required, but it's not a direct connection. It's not so close in relation to career success. So it needs further explanation to link back teamwork to your career success, which comes from my answer. Okay? Right. Let's move on to Payan. Knowledge just only allows us to apply the skills in work and just for understanding the work nature. However, in my opinion, people skills are the most important factor to one's career success, because knowledge is not, people skills have combined many elements to reach to the career success, such as communication skills, interpersonal skills, people work attitude, and people need to have strong adaptation into circumstances. Well, your points are there, but I would say the way you explain, maybe this is lacking in terms of, to me, clarity. All right. The key words for your answers are there, but the explanation is not clear. And by that, that is what I think presentation of argument should be. Yeah, you cannot let your audience do the interpretation or do the explanation on your behalf, because you are the person who came up with this idea. So you must be able to explain it well. You cannot throw this responsibility to the person who is supposed to receive your information, because who's supposed to receive your message, because or your argument. Because my job as your listener or your audience is to just apply critical thinking on your argument and decide for myself whether I want to accept or reject your argument. So while you have good points there, I think you need to now work on how you explain things. Go step by step. There are a lot of gaps there that you need to explain further in order to tie back to career success. In a way, you answered the question, yet not answering the question. It's more of like you were going around the question, but you did not hit the mark. All right. So be very careful in terms of clarity. All right. Next, okay. How can say people skills are the most important factor to one's career success? Okay, stated the point. This is because, good, giving your premises, no matter how knowledgeable we are, we cannot do everything by ourselves. No matter where we are communicating with people, okay? And then he brings in an illustration. Then price of gravity payment is the best example in this. During the economic crisis, he raised the salary of every employee and cut his own salary to be the same as them. Now he's a successful billionaire and has the title World Number One's Best Boss and gained respect by everyone. Okay, good example. All right. Well, in a way, because it's short enough and world's best boss, he is successful, career success. I think the example that you've given is still very close to career success. Therefore, if you do not put your concluding sentence to tie back to career success and you stop there, I would still accept it. It did not raise any gaps in my mind that I feel you should fill in. Okay, right. Okay, so Payan's one, we have looked at that. Seems like Payan is having trouble posting a long answer, all right? But anyways, yeah. Okay, Payan, so again, coming back to yours, the communication skills, interpersonal skills, people's work attitude and all that, to me, I think here, the gap I feel is you need to explain further, give us a further example and explain how communication skills, interpersonal skills, or people's attitude or strong adaptation, many examples provided here, needs to be further elaborated to be more convincing. Okay? Right. Tayyim. In my opinion, I believe that knowledge is the most important factor in one's career success. Knowledge can develop a person's skills such as problem solving and reasoning. Most people who are highly paid are those who have higher knowledge than average. When a person has higher education, reads a variety of information, the person will gain more knowledge. Eventually, the person could contribute a valuable return to the community based on his knowledge. Okay, but it's a wrong conclusion. All right, Chaim. Here it says the person who can contribute a valuable return to the community. My question is reward to that person in terms of their own career success, not reward to the community. Therefore, you still need to make sure that you are answering the question. All right. So check when you're giving the answers and check the train of thoughts, the line of argument is what I'm after here. Okay. Right. Next. Chowki, in my opinion, application skill is the most important factor among the options. Having knowledge all in mind, but without applying them and hands-on issue, then knowledge will never help in success or realization of the target. Applying the knowledge to the case, the person will experience difficulties in the situation and achieve further growth process. When applying the knowledge, okay. Personally, people skills definitely playing a critical role in career path, but people normally prefer to work with colleagues with strong working ability. Therefore, in order to become strong working ability, application skill is the most important factor. That is definitely important, but application. All right. Okay. All right, Chucky, well done. You actually try to talk about all three and compare and contrast the three and explaining how application skill is by far the most superior from your point of view. So I would say in terms of that train of thought of ideas that you're presenting and how you have explained it, well done. Okay, so this is acceptable. There's no gap. Right, Wen Qian. From my opinion, these three factors are important. However, a person's attitude is the most important. No matter how a person's knowledge and application is good at, but his or her attitude is worse, nobody will take them because they're solutions to the problems that they face and also treat employees with bad attitude. Clarity, yeah, a bit difficult to understand here. And why attitude? Because what was given was never attitude was not one of the options given. So in that sense, you have not answered the question. So that is off topic. All right. So be very careful, making sure that you understand the key words that are asked in a question as well. So again, Wen Chen, you are answering around the question. You have not answered the question. All right. Simply because I don't know if you mean attitude to mean people skills. Um, if you want to use attitude or attitude communication skills, you can, but you have to jump off from people skills, entering into communication skills or having a good attitude. Okay, because what I give you in the question does not have communication skills. Let's take communication skill for example. But your answer goes into communication skills to support. So you need to qualify that communication skills by first saying, bringing in, talking about people skills first, and then say one of the most important component in people skills is communication. And that fact has to be right. That has to be something that your audience would agree with you. If I disagree with you to say that people skills, communication is not part of people skills, then you are in trouble. I will reject what you're saying. Okay. Likewise, in terms of attitude, you can bring in, okay, in terms of people skills, nothing is more important than having our right attitude when interacting with people, when working together with people. Then you are qualifying it from the grounds of people skills coming in to making it part of people skills. So in that way, the answer is still linked, it's still connected, so it still holds water. All right. So, okay, we have more. Okay, right. All right. Okay, then we move on to Ken Seng one. Wow, Ken Seng wrote an essay. Right. People skills and knowledge are both indispensable in a workplace, but compared to the above 2 points, applications seem to be more important. Okay. Now I know the word seem, yeah. Seems means it's not proven. It just feels. You are just testing out. It's not solid. It's not concrete. All right. So it does take away your confidence in or trust in this application. Okay, it kind of like disqualifies or devalues it. So you may want to just say application is the most important. All right, because it when you say application is the most important, you are standing by and you're saying that you're very confident about your answer, which you should be because you are the one presenting the argument. All right. People skills and knowledge can make it easier for you to enter the workplace without lack of integration into the company's environment. Okay. However, in this technology advancing generation, if you cannot reflect your job capacity, you'll soon be replaced by others, especially the younger generation who are more proficient in technology. As company's main purpose is looking for people who are able to bring them profit and benefit instead of providing a place for employees to gain and share your knowledge. However, yeah, it's not for you to gain and share knowledge. However, to have great performance in the place, application occupies the main position, but people skills and other knowledge cannot be ignored. We are not a working machine. Social interaction allows us to work better to exchange information. Okay. Kensing, I think I kind of like get your points, but okay, maybe in explanation, you need to make this tighter. Your answer, I think it arises from a lack of understanding in these concepts. You need to actually do more reading into these three concepts before you can provide a stronger answer. You have a rough idea. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it could be improved further if you read more articles on this to gain more insights. Then you will know how to link all these points better. Okay. Um, well, ladies and gentlemen, this question actually comes up from, it can be considered an MBA or a management question, okay? And these three concepts are actually the result of a Harvard Business School study, all right? So, and also I did not explain, but I guess maybe you could understand the context. The context of this is in an organization. That means it's in a company. Career success in an organization that has a hierarchy. That means there is a promotion, there's a corporate ladder for you to climb. All right. It doesn't apply much to entrepreneurs. Right. So in Harvard Business School, they did a study on all the successful people in corporate. That means within an organization, they've risen through the ranks, and knowledge, application, and people skills are the top three factors that they have identified in their research. Okay, right. So knowledge actually ranks number three, and application of knowledge is number two, and people skills is actually ranked number one. All right. Well, some of you kind of like in your explanation, you kind of like could discover the answer roughly. Actually, knowledge, yes, you need to have the basis of it. But yeah, once you have the knowledge, you need to really know how to apply that knowledge. And then moving up, it is people skills, which is the most important. Now, why is that? Okay. If you look at this, is just what I'm going to share now is actually just something for you to consider in preparation, or you can call that a career advice, since you are moving into the corporate world very soon. Okay, right. When you go into the corporate world and there is a corporate ladder to climb, you have to know that in the initial stages, upon hire as a fresh graduate, you are at the lower rung, you are just as executives. When you're at the executive level, you are expected to be an individual performer. That means your knowledge, your skills, your application of the skills is very useful to you because you are the one doing the work, right? So your manager comes to you, hey, this is the client. Okay, this is the packet that you're supposed to work on for this client. So you just take the pile of work and then you use your intellect, your knowledge, your application to complete the job, to get the task done. So as you do this, your application, knowledge, everything you keep doing, you get very good at your own work and you become a top performer. So when you become a top performer, you get so good on your job that you are ready. People start to see you as ready for promotion. So you need to go up to become a manager. Now, the trouble happens when a manager and an individual performer are two different things. You may be very good at the job, but when you become a manager, you don't get to do the work. It is the people below you, your subordinates, the individual performers who will be doing the work, and you are managing them. So that means you don't get to do the work. You have to do the work, get the job done through people. So that is the reason why people skills come in. And people skill may require you to perhaps even coach and guide these people. So if your standard is very high, then you say, okay, I could do this. How come this person keeps doing the mistake? But unfortunately, this person is in your team. So in order for, are you going to adopt a short-term solution, which means that you start to scold the person, get the person to back up, whip the person, and then make sure that in short term they produce the results? Or are you going to spend some time to coach this person, to give this person a few chances, because you know people don't change overnight. They are like that. You try to understand them. And in the meantime, you have to take the blame for the mistakes done and maybe the delays from the mistakes. You are the one who has to shoulder the blame first. But if you have long-term view, then you want to develop this person, giving the person a chance so that in the end, this person will change. And in the long term, your team can move, or you need to have other people skills in order to encourage this person or find other ways to make this person actually internally want to work and contribute. And when they do that, then yes, your team is successful and you are successful as a manager. And as you move up from manager, going up to become CEO, director, and all that, all the more you don't do the work, you just give directions, you inspire people through your words, and the work gets done by the people below you. All right. So something for you to think about. All right. Before we close, any questions? So today, I hope you know how to present your argument when you're writing your answer. Always refer back to the question, making sure that your answer really is answering the question being asked. And it's a good skill to have and bring to your workplace, because when your boss asks you a question, you know what to answer, and you can answer in a way that is acceptable to them. All right. Okay. Right. If there being no question, then we're done for today. Go get your assignments done. Anything you can send via email. All right. And I'm going to take a day or two to check. Okay. So please bear with me. All right.
Miss,
Yes. Yes.
just ask about, I don't know, you have mentioned in previous class lah. Just ask like,
Okay.
how long about the duration of the presentation per group?
Oh, okay. Per group, each member gets 5 minutes. So for your individual part, you get 5 minutes. And for the first person that's doing the opening, because you need to do the movie synopsis, the summary of the movie, you will be given an additional 1 minute. So plus minus, I'll give you the first person an additional 1 minute. And if you have a closing, then the last person will get an additional 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute. So all in all, let's say in your group, you have 5 members. So 5 times 5 is 25 minutes, and plus minus 1 to 2 minutes. Plus minus 2 minutes.
Get it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. If there's none, then we'll call it a day. I'll see you next week. All right. Anything else? You can reach me via email or WhatsApp. All right. Bye, everyone.